kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Hello race fans and welcome to the Kansas Speedway. We are live here for round 12 of the Midday Racing League. I'm Liam Irving up in the booth ready to bring you 100 laps of phenomenal racing action here. We've got 13 of Friday's best ready to rock and rumble here on the grid. So let's go ahead and show you who's starting where. Terry Atwood with a quick time gets on the pole. Rooster Rodden's going to be to his outside. Then we've got Garrett Kinder, Rick Helms, Nick Atwood, series points leader Matt Sisler, Matt Metler, William Baker, Gino Mero, Seth Warren, Chris Papa, Joe Nelson, and then rounding out the field, we're going to have William George in the 91. So 100 laps ready to go here. Kansas Speedway, one of the most versatile tracks these guys are going to come across in terms of intermediates. The progressive banking is going to lead for multiple grooves. Tires are going to wear out a bit here too, so expect these guys to have some comers and goers. And with 13 cars here, we should see some pretty good racing all across the racetrack. These guys get ready, get gridded up here. Most of the field is ready to go. Last week's winner, Garrett Kinder, got the job done at Dover. He's going to be rolling off in third place. Going to try to go 2 for 2 if he can. Matt Sisler, we mentioned in the points lead. We're still waiting on him to get gridded up. Looks like there he is. And the field is ready to roll here. Not quite sure if Matt Sisler maybe had a disconnection there. That might have been the issue. So he's going to have to go to the back. William George also did not make it to the grid. So 11 ready to go here. The Midday Racing League 100 lapper, 150 miles here at Kansas. Field doubled up, gridded tightly, ready to go. Rooster Rodden up on the top side, looking for another strong run here. Chris Papa, we haven't seen him in a couple weeks. Good to see him come back. Matt Medler is going to be starting in 7th. He got himself a win at another intermediate last night in another league, so he's going to hope to keep that momentum going. Pace car rolls in. We're coming to the green. And on the loud pedal is Terry Atwood. We are under green here at Kansas. Right up on the bumper of the 24 is Garrett Kinder in the 13 trying to push him past, but look at the strong start by Rooster Rodden up top. Top side's going to have a little bit of momentum here. The 24 gets a little loose coming through turns 1 and 2, slides up the racetrack, and he's going to take 2nd place, get in front of Rick Helms. Rooster Rodden is your race leader coming up off of turn number 2. Rick Helms trying to figure out a way. Is he going to try to peek 3 wide? He's pinching Garrett Kinder down real hard there. These guys awful close there on the first lap. Kinder all the way down to the bottom. Rick Helms trying to use the top side as an advantage, followed by the Pepsi machine of Nick Atwood in that 23, trying to utilize the top side as well. There's the 81 down on the bottom side. I believe that's Seth Warren, and the being shown as the 21, but the 81 is the number on the car there. So sorry for the confusion with that. Down to the inside of Rick Helms, though, almost a little bit of contact. Warren has to let up off of the throttle a little bit. That's going to give Atwood the top side, the momentum. He's going to have that pass completed, getting down into 1. And now the top 5 are single file, top 6, all the way now to the top 10. Into the wall, there goes Warren, just a touch. He's got Gino Merrill right behind him. Chris Papa working his way through the field. He's all the way up to 8th after starting in 11th. Meanwhile, Matt Sisler, he has made it out of the track. He is on the lead lap, but half a lap down early on. He's going to be hoping for a yellow flag, which could come soon. These guys are getting awful racy up here. Here's Garrett Kinder working down to the inside of Atwood, trying to take 2nd place away. Atwood trying to work that top side as it was worked against him on the first lap, using that little bit more banking up on the top side. But Garrett Kinder able to hold strong down on the bottom. Rick Helms under fire from Nick Atwood. Gino Merrill trying to get around the 81 in front of him. That's Seth Warren. Kinder gets up in front of the 24, takes 2nd place away, and Rick Helms now tries to follow him through on the bottom side. Side by side coming up off of turn number 2 between Warren and Atwood. Atwood gets the advantage up on the top side just behind Gino Merrill, trying to figure out which way to go, which car to follow. Merrill touches the apron just a little bit there, slides up, uses up all the racetrack, almost all the racetrack. Now looks to the bottom side, not quite enough momentum to make it 3 wide. Now pushing the 81 of Warren. Side by side for 3rd place as Rick Helms tries to take away the spot from Nick Atwood. Atwood working that top side, and now we've got a race for the lead as Rooster Rodden's under fire from Garrett Kinder. Kinder down to the inside. He's been working that inside well, but Rooster Rodden not all the way up to the top. He's running that middle kind of lane below that 3rd seam. Side by side at the line. That lap goes to Rooster Rodden, but Garrett Kinder is fast, and the entire pack is within about a second of each other, all the way from 1st to 9th place. William Baker and Joe Nelson have lost a little bit of time. Matt Sisler, of course, had to start from the pit lane after a connection issue early on. And here comes Seth Warren through the middle now, trying to take away a spot on Nick Atwood. Rick Helms, or Terry Atwood, rather. Helms wasn't able to get the job done. Lost a little bit of momentum. Now he's battling with Merrill. The Midday Racing League does not disappoint. Terry Atwood, however, is disappointed in the run he's having right now. He's back 4 spots after starting on the pole after 7 completed laps. He's got Gino Mero working to take that spot away from him, and Rick Helms going to try to get back down to the inside and work at him once again. Fastest lap of the race that time went to the 71, Gino Mero. You see just in front of Terry Atwood in the 24, Mero in that 71. Put down a 31.32. That's the quickest we've seen out of anybody today. 8 laps completed. These tires are going to start to wear down, but I tell you what, these guys still have all of the speed as Garrett Kinder still trying to wrestle the race lead away, but here it comes to the middle of the racetrack. Warren is going to try to move it 3 wide. Kinder strong up on the top side. He's got a big run on Warren. Into the wall goes Kinder, and now down to the bottom. Making contact with Rooster Rodden was Seth Warren. Everybody gets through okay coming up off of turn number 2. Still side by side for the race lead. Rooster Rodden led some laps early, wants to get back to the lead. Seth Warren, he's our biggest mover of the day. He's up 9 spots from where he started. Gino Mero up 6. As Rooster Rodden pulls off a little bit of a slider, Warren goes to the bottom, Mero goes to the top, and Mero's in the wall coming up off of the corner. Garrett Kinder's got to let up off the gas. He's going to give him a big shove down the back straightaway to try to keep that momentum up. To the bottom of the racetrack goes Mero. All 3 of the top 3 are now rocking the bottom side of the track. Very different from what we saw at the beginning of the race with Rooster Rodden enjoying the top side. These guys trying to figure out what's the best lane to defend, as now Rodden in the middle trying to defend from Seth Warren, who goes to the bottom side. Warren's got himself some speed. He's got some momentum. They almost hit coming up off of turn number 2. Warren's got the advantage going into turn number 3. Tries to pull a big slider. Rooster Rodden gets to the throttle first, though. He's at his door. He's going to have the momentum up on the top side. Warren all the way down to the bottom, but Rooster Rodden with the top side momentum. I don't know who led that lap. Still dead even up front. Gino Mero going to try to take advantage of these guys, punching a huge hole in the air, and so is Garrett Kinder. Meanwhile, Terry Atwood has been able to stabilize in 5th place, as Rick Helms has fallen back just about a second from him. The top 3, top 4 have really kind of pulled away from the rest of the field. So you can see that gap between the 24 and the 75. Still side by side for the race lead. Rooster Rodden rocking the top side. Warren down on the inside. Looks like Rodden's going to be able to take that top side momentum and hold on to the race lead. Now here comes Garrett Kinder with a look on Mero. Mero gets up into the wall on the entry to the corner. That's not good for, not really good for anything. Rick Helms under fire from Matt Metler, who we've seen as far back as 9th. Try to take away 6th place. Utilize some of that long run speed he was working on in practice, working the outside of Rick Helms now with a bit of help from the Atwood machine, the 23 of Nick Atwood. Getting up front though, Seth Warren is still working the bottom side on Rooster Rodden. Rooster just able to use up enough racetrack, though, to keep that momentum, not have to lift. Whereas on the inside, Warren, he's got to let off a bit. Got a car width less racetrack to use. But it seems like Rooster Rodden's got that top side figured out 16 laps into the show now. Terry Atwood trying to utilize his quick lap times from the qualifying session to maybe make a move on Gino Mero. And we might be seeing a situation where some of these guys who've gotten up here pushed really hard on their tires. Seth Warren being one of them. He's up 8 spots. Started in 10th. He's in 2nd. Rooster Rodden gets up into the wall there. It's going to slow his momentum down. Not quite enough for Warren to get to his inside, though. But as we were saying, these tires might start to wear down on these cars who have worked their way up through the field. They might start falling back into the clutches of some of these other drivers. We'll have to see, though. We've got 83 laps to go as we cross the line. Nick Atwood and Matt Mettler have been able to get away from Rick Helms just a little bit. Now Atwood trying to work the top side over Mettler. Mettler just one lane off the bottom side. Seems like the momentum really goes into the favor of the 23, though. These guys are lapping just quicker. It's Garrett Kinder's now to the inside of Seth Warren. And now Atwood gets down to the inside of Matt Mettler. Mettler's not really going to fight him too hard there. Warren moves up to the top side of the racetrack, going to try to utilize the extra banking up there, but it looks like Kinder, and into the wall goes Warren coming up off of 2, but doesn't seem to have hurt his momentum too much. He's still side by side with Kinder down the back straightaway. I said Matt Mettler wasn't going to fight, but he came right back into the next corner. These guys are chasing down Gino Mero just a bit. They might find themselves up into this top 5, top 7 pack, maybe make it a 7-car pack. Running similar lap times to the race leader. Now these guys both rocking the top side, but look at Atwood's run coming up off of turn 2. Stays right up on the rear bumper of Matt Mettler. Mettler down to the bottom, Atwood to the top. Seth Warren now under fire from Terry Atwood. Those tires might be hurting after pushing so hard early on in the first 20 laps. But he's still up 6 spots from where he was. Same with Gino Mero, up 4 spots from where he started the race. Matt Mettler and Nick Atwood, they're chasing down that 71 machine real quick. Within a couple of tenths coming up off of turn 4. About a tenth quicker than the leader that last time with these guys drafting. Mettler's going to the bottom side to try to take position on Mero. Might have been a little early to make that move, but Mero slides up, uses up all the racetrack. Mettler has to let up off the throttle. Thought he was getting a little bit loose there. Down to the inside in turns 3 and 4. Looks like Atwood was thinking about maybe making it 3. Now here comes Mero up on the top side. Lets up off the throttle. Lets Matt Mettler go. And Nick Atwood, rather, is going to take advantage of that as well. But Matt Mettler up into the top 5. And Nick Atwood follows him right through into 6th. Here comes Atwood down to the inside of Mettler. Into 3. Mettler did not fight at all up the racetrack. Goes the 23, though. Kind of looking like Carl Edwards in 2008, I believe. These guys catch up now to Seth Warren. So now Nick Atwood's going to go to 4th. Seth Warren doesn't seem to have much to defend these cars behind him. Mettler using the way bottom coming up off of the corner. That can't be great for momentum as Warren now goes to the bottom side, try to take that spot back away from Atwood. I'm down to the inside. Matt Mettler going for a top 5 spot. And while we were looking at all this, we did miss a pass for the lead. Garrett Kinder is in the race lead over Rooster Rodden. We'll go ahead and show you that as you see Matt Mettler complete that pass. Here's Garrett Kinder making the move down to the bottom side off of turn number 2. Big time momentum. Pulls down to the bottom and makes it look easy on the 0-1 machine. Oh, Rodden getting up into the wall, coming up off of 4 too. That can't have helped him. Back up front, Garrett Kinder's pulled out to about a 2nd lead over Rooster Rodden. Terry Atwood sits in 3rd place, Nick Atwood in 4th, and Matt Mettler up into the top 5. And we've got Seth Warren, Gino Mero, Rick Helms, Joe Nelson, Matt Sisler, and William Baker. Chris Papa is in the pits. in 12th place. Not sure if that's a scheduled or unscheduled stop, but he's giving it a go. Garrett Kinder rolling out to a bit more of a race lead here. Rooster Rodden loses second place to the 24 of Terry Atwood. You gotta wonder if there's maybe some damage to that 0-1 machine after hitting the wall coming up off of turn 4. Nothing we could really see from that angle. That car not really doing what he wants it to. Is now Terry Atwood from the pole gets back up into second place, just a little bit quicker than the race leader. These last couple laps around, Seth Warren's come into the pits as well. So we might be seeing a split between 3 and 2 stops throughout this race. As the 3-stop strategy opens up around lap 25. 2-stopper opens up around 33 or so. Nick Atwood trying to work to the top side of Rooster Rodden now. He's gained 3 seconds on Matt Mettler after seeing these guys race side by side for so long. And I believe Rooster's got a little bit of right front damage. He's got to just be nursing it till that pit stop, knowing he's got a quick car. Can't let it get damaged anymore. You don't want to hurt the toe of that car or risk any more track position. So Chris Papa was in the pits for a considerable amount of time, over 1 minute in his pit stall, so I would assume that was unscheduled. Seth Warren, however, made a 14.72 second pit stop. That does lean more towards the scheduled side of things. Gino Mero now trying to get around Matt Mettler once again. These guys race hard. Now Matt Mettler dives it down into the pits. So lap 31. Can Mettler get down? I don't know. That was quick. I mean, that might have been quick, but if it wasn't, it was close. Good job by Matt Mettler getting it down. We'll keep an eye to see if he's got to stay around for a penalty, which might have actually been what happened to Chris Papa. Not entirely sure there. But Garrett Kinder. Now Terry Atwood and Nick Atwood race side by side. Terry Atwood, or rather Nick Atwood, has just been on fire the second half of this run. Putting down laps comparable to the race leader. We saw him racing with Matt Mettler for 6th and 7th before, and now he's up to second place after 32 laps of green flag racing. Up into the wall he goes that time. Doesn't seem to have hurt him too much. Down the backstretch now. William Baker into the pits. That number 49 U.S. Army machine. We're on lap 33, so the window is open for a 2-stop strategy. Kinder right up next to the wall. Seth Warren just put down the fastest lap of the race with a 31:27. It's about a second and a half quicker than what Garrett Kinder's able to put down this last time around. Keep an eye on who's coming in. I believe Gino Mero's coming in this time around. Yes, sir. He's coming in. Mero gets down. Got down to actually about 30 miles an hour there on entry, so he should be plenty fine. Garrett Kinder stays out, though. Continues to lead this race. He's got 1.8 seconds over second place Nick Atwood. Atwood a little bit quicker. A lot of it quicker that last time. 0.3 quicker than Garrett Kinder. Kinder rocking the top side in 1 and 2, where Atwood is, top side in 1 and 2, the bottom side in 3 and 4, where Atwood has been working the top side throughout the entirety of this racetrack. Kind of diamonding that corner, enters middle, gets up next to the wall, comes back down the racetrack to get a bit more momentum. Looks like he's cut another 0.2 out of the race lead, though. It's 1.6 seconds now as they come across the start-finish line. Garrett Kinder to Nick Atwood. You can see on the blimp cam what the gap looks like right now and what these lines look like between the two. Kinder working the bottom side now between 3 and 4, but the speed differential is going to go to Nick Atwood. Not quite that time. These guys were virtually equal in terms of speed, but Garrett Kinder, he's coming into the pits this time around. It's going to give Nick Atwood the race lead. Terry Atwood in second, Rooster Rodden in third. Rick Helms also into the pits. We'll see where Kinder blends out in terms of Seth Warren, because Warren was blazing fast coming up off of the pits. He's going to have a little bit more worn down tires later on in the run, but we'll see what kind of time he was able to gain after losing a bit of time there last time around. Keeping an eye on these drivers' speeds. Nick Atwood staying on the top side. That is not where you're going to be if you're going to make a pit stop. Terry Atwood, Rooster Rodden just behind. These guys staying out as well. Matt Sisler is also in the pits. Joe Nelson. Seth Warren has gotten out in front of Garrett Kinder by a hefty margin. 5 seconds now. 6 as Kinder is still on the inside. But we'll see how that changes later on throughout the course of this run if short pitting was the call. Matt Metler short pitted as well. He's going to get in front of Garrett Kinder here. Kinder on these super fresh tires, though. Expect him to be strong on the inside and fight him right back. There's Seth Warren unlapping himself. Nick Atwood staying out. He might be trying to stretch this. I don't know. Seth Warren came in a full 10 laps earlier than Garrett Kinder did. He's going to have a tall task on his hand, almost 40 laps to go on those tires if he wants to try to split this into a proper 3-stop strategy, but we'll see what he's got. Jerry Atwood has Rooster Rodden all over his rear bumper. "40 laps complete in this thing. The top 3 have not pitted. 4th place Seth Warren has. He has just unlapped himself. Meanwhile, Matt Metler still in front of Garrett Kinder. These guys racing side by side coming up off of the corner. Metler fights hard, but this time he's going to relinquish that spot. Seth Warren has 9 seconds of an advantage over Garrett Kinder. Atwood stays out. 40 laps complete. Both Atwoods stay out. And Rooster Rodden got Chris Papa getting around both of these guys. But Rodden still trying to figure out a way around that 24 after getting passed by him early on in the race. He actually got around him on the initial start. These guys started 1-2 on the field. They haven't been able to get away from each other too far. Matt Metler just at the tail end of this group. Garrett Kinder patiently waiting for a way around these lapped cars. Maybe not so patient right there. He's going to score down to the inside. Makes it look easy. It's the 49 is going to follow him through. That's William Baker. He's a lap down. He's 2 laps down. He's a lap down compared to Garrett Kinder, though. Rooster Rodden into the pits. He blinks first out of the top 3. Now it's the Atwoods staying out. Nick Atwood has 4 seconds of a race lead over Terry Atwood. Woody sits in second place. 43 laps on his tires. That is a long way to go. I think these guys are going to try to split it in 2. Just 1 pit stop in the middle of the race. These tires do wear a considerable amount. Fastest lap of the race was set by Gino Mero at a 31:21. Meanwhile, a 32:88 was the last lap for Nick Atwood, who has the most time on his tires. Terry Atwood, 33:23 in second, so a bit more fall off for the second place driver right now as both of these guys stay out once again. Seth Warren, he's 26 seconds behind the top two. Didn't have himself a super great lap that time around. Garrett Kinder is chasing him down pretty quick. It's 6.5 seconds now on lap 46. It's 20 laps for Warren's tires at this point. Things are going to start slowing down for him just a bit in terms of chasing down the race lead. I would say he's probably got to go another 15 to 20 laps if he wants to try to equalize where these tires are. And here comes Nick Atwood into the pits. Terry Atwood's going to stay out and assume the race lead. I wonder if Atwood was just kind of hoping for a caution. So at this point, 54 laps to go. You're not going to be able to make it from here. Terry Atwood, your pole sitter, he's going to stay out. Imagine he comes in next time, but we'll see. He's running pretty slow. He might be kind of coasting around to try to get this done on one stop. Definitely early off the throttle. Let's ride on board, see if we can steal some secrets. Does not shift down. Nick Atwood has fallen to 8th place after getting up off the pits. Very easy on the throttle, and now he's coming into the pits. Terry Atwood from the lead. He's going to come into the pits. That's going to give Seth Warren the lead. He almost missed the pits. Terry Atwood gets her down. Now Seth Warren going to inherit the race lead, but for how long? Garrett Kinder is 3.5 seconds behind. Oh, and here comes Seth Warren back into the pits. That gives the race lead to Garrett Kinder, and it looks like Seth Warren might be trying a three-stopper. Saw the Atwoods try to stay out as long as they possibly could on fuel. Terry was very slow there on his last couple of laps, trying to get every milliliter of fuel out of that thing. We're going to go ahead and take a break here at the midway point in this race. Garrett Kinder leads over Gino Mero, Matt Metler, Matt Sisler, and Rick Helms, rounding out your top 5. We'll be right back with the finish of the race.
Hi, this is Steven Cherrick. I'm the rear tire changer on the number 24 GMS Chevrolet, and you're watching Sim Racing Media.
Sorry about that. Joe Nelson's into the pits. Garrett Kinder leads over Matt Metler, Rooster Rodden, Nick Atwood, Matt Sisler rounding out your top 5. Multiple different strategies going on in this one. Garrett Kinder, your race leader, last pitted on lap 36. Matt Metler on 30. Rooster Rodden 43. These guys have all pitted once. Meanwhile, Terry Atwood, lap 48 on his first pit stop. Seth Warren made his second pit stop of the race on lap 48. Another two-stop driver so far, Gino Mero, sits in 10th place right now. Last came in on lap 53. Joe Nelson, most recent of the pitters. He's just getting out of the pits right now at lap number 58. So Garrett Kinder leads by 10 seconds over Matt Metler. Then it's Rooster Rodden about a second off of Matt. Jerry Atwood and Nick Atwood. Or Nick Atwood, rather. I keep getting the Atwood boys confused today. I'm sorry about that. Nick Atwood trying to chase down Rooster Rodden. Oh, they both get up into the wall. Now they're 3 wide coming up off of turn 4. Chris Papa takes advantage of these guys. Gets down to the bottom side, just coming up off of the pits. Fresher tires, but the top side momentum's going to keep him side by side with the 23. Almost pinches him up getting into the corner, but now Nick Atwood comes up to the top side. These guys all chasing down Matt Metler, who seems to be a roadblock in front of him right now with that speed differential. Metler moves down to the bottom. He's not quite sure where to go. Gets into the way of the lap car. So now the lap car tries to move to the middle. Metler slides to the middle. Chris Papa tries to look low. Rooster Rodden going to try to take advantage of this as well. Chris Papa might be getting a little bit frustrated with the fact that he can't get around that 93 machine, though. Nick Atwood moves into second place. It's an 11-second gap for Garrett Kinder right now. There's Joe Nelson getting around Metler. Matt Sisler not too far behind these guys. It's about 2 seconds. Sitting in 5th place. We've got 40 laps to go. Garrett Kinder holds on to a 10-second lead. William Baker's into the pits. You can't really get the tires changed if they're spinning, but they seem to have got the job done. Rooster Rodden sits in 3rd place. Oh, and into the wall goes Rooster. Saw him get up into the wall earlier. It slowed his car down a bit. We'll see how much that affects the aero on that car. Nick Atwood continues to put down the fastest laps on the track, though, but with 10 seconds separating him and Garrett Kinder, is he going to have enough time? These guys will both have 1 pit stop left to make. And all of the advantage on these 10-lap fresher tires that Nick Atwood has is going to disappear. William Baker has jumped to the pits. Not entirely sure what happened to him for that, but we'll find out. He might have had some sort of some issue that he had to deal with. Into the pits comes Garrett Kinder. He's in on lap 63. And so is Nick Atwood. Rooster Rodden was more than likely speeding there as he gets next to the 23. Whose pit's coming up first, though? Who's got a blink? Rodden was second on the qualifying order. Had to back up. The 23 did. Garrett Kinder gets out okay. We'll see if Rodden has to stay for a penalty or not, but he's going to have the advantage if he doesn't. Jack drops. I think they were both speeding. They both are taking extended stops here. Matt Metler assumes the race lead. Rick Helms now in second place. Matt Sisler comes into the pits. Terry Atwood in fourth. Seth Warren out there on the racetrack takes away fourth now from Matt Sisler, who's in the pits. Gino Merrill going to assume fifth place. Here's Garrett Kinder right behind him. He's already made his last pit stop. His two closest competitors might be dealing with speeding penalties. They both spent 56 seconds on the pits. Or in their pit stall, rather. Definitely both got pit speeding penalties there, which is really going to play into the hands of Garrett Kinder. Appreciate everybody who's tuning in live on Sim Racing Media here in this gorgeous Friday afternoon in Kansas. If you're just tuning in, Garrett Kinder assumed the race lead in the first stint before the first pit stop. After Rooster Rodden started in second, led the first 15 or so laps, Garrett Kinder was able to get around him. Lost the lead through some pit strategy here and there, but right now, he is in the best position to win this race with 66 laps completed. Matt Metler holds out of the race lead. He's still got a pit stop yet to make. His last pit came at lap number 30. He's pushing almost 40 laps on his tires. That's not going to be feeling good, as he likes to say. Those Dr. Feelgoods really turning into Dr. Feelbads. Rick Helms not too far back in second place. About a second and a half off of the race lead. These guys running pretty close lap times. Rick Helms a little bit quicker that last time around. Here's Garrett Kinder down to the inside of Joe Nelson. He's got Gino Merrill in front of him for position. Should be a relatively easy pass. Merrill gets down in front of him, blocks him up a little bit, but Kinder doesn't even lift. Gets down to the bottom. It looks like he's going to make that pass fairly easily. Put Garrett Kinder up into the top 5. Here comes Rick Helms into the pits. From second place. But the gap that Kinder is going to have on the rest of the field when this all cycles through is going to be massive. Absolute masterclass put on here by Mr. Kinder. Matt Metler out here leading some laps. We would imagine he's got to come in and make a pit stop within the next 5 or so laps. So let's back it up here and take a quick look to see what happened on the pit entry. So we've got Terry Atwood working the back bumper of Seth Warren now. Let's take a look at what happened on pit entry with Nick Atwood and Rooster Rodden. Sorry, that was the... Oh, unsafe pit entry. Missed the box. Might not have been a pit speeding penalty, but runs through the cone. Rooster Rodden missed the cone. It's going to be an unsafe pit entrance, and tough break for both of those guys running up in the top 3. Now Nick Atwood sits in 10th, Rooster Rodden in 9th. 2 laps down. Garrett Kinder got around Gino Mero. That puts him up into 4th place. All 3 cars in front of him still have to make a pit stop. Matt Metler leads by well, it was 8 seconds, and now it's 6. So Metler really going slow here. Not sure if he's running out of gas or if Seth Warren is just that much quicker right now. But Matt Metler, he's going to come into the pits this time around. This pit lane is so tough to get into coming up off of that turn number 4. You got to turn it so much harder. Well, Seth Warren's going to assume the race lead over Terry Atwood. Garrett Kinder just behind these guys. He's a full pit stop ahead of Seth Warren and Terry Atwood. Atwood's not going to have much of a fight for Mr. Kinder here. That Budweiser Select number 13 Ford Mustang moves down to the bottom side, takes away 2nd. Now he's got a 2nd between him and Seth Warren. 75 laps complete. Seth Warren holds on to the race lead. But that lead is dwindling. 3/4 of a second now. It's going to be half a second. Four car lengths coming up off of turn 4. And here he goes down to the bottom. The race for the lead. Kinder's going to be able to take this one away easily entering turns 3 and 4. Seth Warren has no fight left on those tires. As you can see, the gap already increasing as Warren gets up next to the wall, scrapes it a little bit coming up off of turn 4. Garrett Kinder is in the race lead. Last pit stop completed. The next driver who can make it to the end is Matt Sisler, who is currently 20 seconds off of Garrett Kinder. And I tell you what, Matt Sisler started from the pits, was a half a lap down to start this thing. If it wasn't for that, or if he had a caution, I think the results would show a lot better for this 00 car. 5th place, nothing to hang your head about. You might be able to gain 2 or 3 more when these guys in front of you come in and make pit stops. But actually, the 3 drivers in front of him, between him and Kinder, all have to come in one more time. So Matt Sisler, he might be able to eke away a 2nd place finish, which would be a phenomenal recovery after missing the start due to whatever issue he may have had. Going to help him increase his points lead over Rooster Rodden. Joe Nelson coming into the pits one more time. This will be his 3rd stop of the day. Matt Sisler, I believe he's being shown on a 3-stop strategy, but it might consider his starting from the pits as a pit stop. $20 laps to go this time around for Garrett Kinder. He has been on rails all day. Hasn't put a foot wrong. Perfect on pit road. And absolutely exceptional on these long runs. There's Terry Atwood working to the top side of Gino Mero. Looks like Woody's going to get the job done up on the top side with that momentum. I can't imagine there's going to be anybody from second to fourth that's going to be able to make it to the end here. I think everybody else should be good. Those drivers are going to have a bit of trouble. Going to have to make a pit stop to make it to the end. Seth Warren sitting in second place still. It's about 3.5 seconds off the race lead. But that is virtually irrelevant when he's still going to make another pit stop here. Terry Atwood, however, he's gone long now on both of his stints. He went to lap 48 the first time. Theoretically, he could make it past 90, maybe to 95. But that is a huge ask, and I don't really know what the gain would be for it. I think if you're Seth Warren, Terry Atwood, Gino Merrill, you want to make a pit stop as quick as possible. Utilize as much time as you can on fresh tires so you can make up some of this time that you're losing. Or you can hope for a caution, which seems unlikely at this point, but there are no guarantees in racing. So, I mean, who knows what we'll see as these guys move forward in the last 16 laps of this race. Appreciate everybody who's tuned in so far. It's been an absolute thriller. It's turned into a strategy showdown. And now it is just a whooping put on by Garrett Kinder here as Atwood gets up into the wall there. Woody going to have to relinquish the spot to Gino Merrill for now. He's going to fight back hard on that top side. Side by side coming up out of turn number 4 for third place. 15 laps to go. Woody puts down an absolute, he puts down the throttle, pedal to the metal there coming up off of turn number 4. Merrill gets up into the wall just a little bit, a small scrape, but that's going to give a lot of momentum to Terry Atwood in front of him. Garrett Kinder's opened up almost a 6-second lead over second place Seth Warren. Warren has got to be close to making a pit stop. Came in on lap 48. So no 47. He was definitely doing some saving there. That was actually his second stop of the day, so he hasn't tested how long he can save like the Atwood guys did. Matt Mettler in 7th place. Going to try to get one of his laps back, but he's 9 seconds off of Rick Helms in front of him. It's going to be a tough pass to make. Terry Atwood and Gino Merrill continues to be the closest battle on the racetrack right now as these guys are just putting on a dogfight for third place. Down to the bottom goes Gino Merrill. Terry Atwood right up next to the wall, pulling that Kyle Larson style line. Merrill comes up, slides up just a bit, has to let up off the throttle. Tries a little bit of side draft to slow down that 24 down the backstretch. Just about on the inside, entering 3 and 4. Dives it in deep, and now Terry Atwood gets up into the wall a little bit. Now put Gino Merrill up in front. Clears him. Tries to. Atwood doesn't want to give it up. Has to let up off of the throttle just a little bit. And that almost pointed the 71 towards the outside wall. That would have been disastrous. Now here comes Merrill trying to take away the line at the 24. 24 jumps down to the inside. Merrill comes down to pinch. These guys are absolutely dogfighting it out here for third place, and they've still got a pit stop yet to make. Gino Merrill might be able to make it to the end here. I don't know if he can, and if he can, he shouldn't race this one super hard, but here comes the 24 down to the bottom once again. Completes the pass, and now Merrill back down to the bottom. He's going to try to shorten up that front straightaway. Gets side by side. Almost contact as he gets loose on the transition. These guys are racing their hearts out. The 24 on top. He's going to take that momentum, complete the pass once again. These guys are not letting each other out of their sights, though. Gino back to the bottom. As a strong run gets loose, though, has to come up off of the gas. Loses a lot of time to the 24. 9 laps to go for your race leader, Garrett Kinder. Seth Warren still in second place. Terry Atwood in third now. Both of those guys likely have to make a pit stop. Gino Merrill might be able to make it to the end here on fuel. Haven't heard anything from the team communications in terms of that, but we've seen drivers make it 48 laps. Terry Atwood came in on 48. Gino Merrill came in on lap 53. So if he's been doing the same type of fuel saving as Atwood did in the first run, he might be able to make it to the end, but we're not entirely sure on that data there. We know Garrett Kinder can make it to the end. He pitted on lap 63. Gives him 10 laps of extra fuel. He'd be good for multiple green-white checkers if it came to that, but this race has been caution-free so far. I don't expect to see any sort of crazy drama exploding like that. Terry Atwood can't get Gino Merrill away from him. Now Atwood scrapes the wall once again. That's going to give Merrill a little bit of momentum to try to chase him back down. 4/10 is the gap. It was up to almost 6th after the slide that Gino had coming up off of turn number 4 a couple of laps ago. Atwood once again gets up next to the wall. Merrill's just closing in slowly but surely, and look who else is closing in, Matt Sisler. He came in 11 laps after Gino Merrill. He's going to try to take away 4th place on the racetrack. Doesn't want to wait for these guys to make a pit stop. We've got 6 laps to go, which leads me to believe that Seth Warren is about to run out of fuel. Along with the 24 of Terry Atwood, as Gino has gotten right back to the back bumper of him. If you're Matt Sisler, you're loving this racing in front of you. You might be able to get yourself a 2-for-1. You know you've got the speed with the fresher tires. Gino Merrill just can't get around Terry Atwood. Seth Warren is feathering the throttle to try to make it to the end. 4 laps to go for your race leader, Garrett Kinder. And I tell you what, if Seth can make it to the end, it's going to blow my mind. An absolute masterclass of fuel saving. And I've said that a lot. We've seen a great drive out of Garrett Kinder here today. 3 laps to go for him as he's got a 13.5-second lead. Matt Sisler was able to get around both Gino Merrill and Terry Atwood as we were looking away there. Gino was able to get around to Atwood. I think these guys are committed to the bit now. They've got to go to the end. It's too late to try to make a pit stop. Seth Warren has just under 4 seconds between him and Matt Sisler for 2nd place. He is really babying the throttle coming up off of the corner. Max speed coming up into turn 3 was 168. 2 to go for Garrett Kinder out front. It's been a relatively easy one for him after the second half of this one. Seth Warren crosses the line with 2 to go. Matt Sisler chasing him down big time, though. It's within a 1.5 seconds now. Matt Sisler will likely take away 2nd place if Warren can make it to the end. That would be a phenomenal fuel save by him. He's gone 50 laps this time. Garrett Kinder takes the white flag after a dominating performance here today. He's going to have almost 20 seconds on the guy on the same pit strategy as him. That's Matt Sisler in 3rd. Garrett Kinder, 2 more corners to go. Seth Warren, he's got a lap to try to keep Matt Sisler behind him. It's still a 1.5 seconds. Is there a 1.5 miles left of fuel for Seth Warren? Doesn't matter for Garrett Kinder, though. He comes across the line, takes 2 in a row. Garrett Kinder wins at Kansas. Seth Warren absolutely on the gas now. He must have gotten that all good call because Seth Warren, he is still on the throttle. I've said he could coast it from here before, but this time he can. Second place goes to Seth Warren on 52 laps on that tank of fuel. Matt Sisler takes away the final podium spot. Going to be Gino Merrow, then Rick Helms, Terry Atwood, Matt Metler, Rooster Rodden, Nick Atwood, Chris Papa, Joe Nelson, William Baker, and William George did not finish the race. Go ahead and show you those results we just went through while we let Mr. Kinder burn it down here. Big time burnout there for the 13 machine. And he was a machine today. I'm going to go ahead and bring him up into the booth. Garrett Kinder, it's Liam up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, dude, you absolutely put on a masterclass once you took the lead in the middle of the first run. Walk us through what was under the hood of that thing because... well, you better tell us now because you know Tech's going to find out.
Yeah, don't. The tech booth might be looking at me a little bit funny today. Just man, tire saving and running the stuff I could. You know, the low line, I tried to stay to it for the majority of the run. Just, you know, the high line was faster, especially if you're trying to pass somebody. But yeah, I just tried to run the low line. And clean air, you know, clean air was king. Setup was really, really tight. So really backing your corners off, getting that thing pointed and trying to get a low drive off, which worked really well for the first 15 or so laps. And then it was inevitable. You're going to start pushing up to the wall. So kind of had to play around with a little bit, search around, find some, you know, it's not the way I'm used to running Kansas. Kansas is normally one that you can run top, bottom, middle, inside, outside. It don't matter. But you had a definitely preferred line here around Kansas. And luckily I was able to find it and make good use of it.
Yeah, and it looked for a little while like you were going to be able to lap the whole field after the two behind you running second and third. They came in and had an unsafe pit entry, so that gave you an extra 30 or so seconds on them. Matt Sisler, he was the closest driver on your strategy. Was 20 seconds behind you.
Yeah. You know, that strategy, I think it was Seth and Gino that were running that three-stop strategy. It had me worried a little bit until I was able to, you know, the end of that second run, I was able to stay out in front of, I think it was Seth or Gino was behind me and I was catching Seth, one or the other, but was able to basically keep them in check on that strategy. Tires didn't fall off like theirs did. Once I saw that, I knew that I'd probably be able to run whoever was in front, you know, back down, and made pretty quick work of that. I think first 10, 15 laps after I came in, I reeled them back in and went around, but it had me a little nervous, but nothing too bad.
Well, this is your second in a row. You got the job done at Dover last week. Now you're carrying some momentum. Still about 150 points out of the lead coming into this one, but tell you what.
I've missed I think 3 or 4 of these races, so even being, you know, competitive in the points right now, I think it's either Sisler or Metler. One of the Matts I think is leading it, but it'll be tough to catch them. You know, I'll probably end up missing a few more here and there, but it's just a lot of fun over here, man. With some clean racing, you know, me and Rooster, we race pretty clean together up there at the front towards the beginning, and then same thing with Seth and Gino. I remember racing against Gino in the Xfinity cars at Charlotte a while back, last season or season before, and it was a good time. So, you know, a lot of clean racers over here, a lot of good fun, and man, I just look forward to coming out and racing on Friday afternoons.
You put on a clinic here today. Is there anybody you want to thank for such a strong run?
Yeah, I've got the Budweiser car on just 'cause it looks good, I guess. But I want to thank Kinder Farm and Ranch and Ratchet Speed Shop. They're the ones that power this Ford Mustang around the track, along with Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers. If you want to keep your stuff hot and keep your stuff cold for cheaper and longer than anybody else, make sure you check out Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers at bigfrig.com. Ray Page and Andy over at Wolfpack Racing, two guys in the industry, really good guys to know. If you ever see them around, give them a shout. All my teammates across the various leagues I'm in, Reaper Racing, Poleman Motorsports, and on the short tracking side, Velocity Motorsports, along with Superior Performance Motorsports. Thank you up in the booth. Thank everybody over here that makes this midday racing league tick and keeps everything running. Gives us guys a chance to hang out.
Awesome stuff, Garrett. We appreciate you. Congratulations on such a dominant performance here today at Kansas.
Thank you.
That was your race winner. All right, now we'll go ahead and bring in Matt Sisler. Matt, you come home third place. Did you think that 21 in front of you was going to be able to make it to the end on fuel?
I had no idea. I knew I was catching him really quick. Like, I was surprised. I knew Terry was short. Like, I knew Terry and the 71 were close on fuel because the 71 had pit again, like I'm lap 54 or 55. So he was like right there on fuel, but I couldn't remember what the 21 slash, I guess he had 81 on his car as well, at least from my screen. I didn't know what he was doing on fuel, so I knew I was catching him, but like, I mean, I think I reeled him into 1.4 and then I hit the wall, and I think my tires had just hit the cliff of running that high line up by the wall, like right when I didn't need it to catch second. But I mean, considering that I had to jump back into the pit lane to change my steering ratio, and it said I could still grid, and then when I got out of the garage, it said miss start. And I had to start from second in the pit, or excuse me, 12th in the pit lane. To come back and be P3 at the line is a really good run for our Apex Tech Ford.
Yeah, we were going to ask you what happened there, but you gave us a quick explanation and had to get that steering ratio changed, didn't let you grid up. Phenomenal recovery for you because you started the race about a half a lap down, and you wound up finishing third place 20 seconds back, so you didn't lose a whole heck of a lot of time to the race leaders. What'd you have under the hood in that thing, man? It seemed like you were blazing fast all day.
Well, I mean, it helps to run, like helps to run practice against AI and stuff like that. And, being able to do that, I knew, like, if I needed to go for speed early, I knew if I needed to get to speed, like, I had to go up high. Like, in the first 10 laps, I kept my standings up. So I knew, like, okay, this is how much I'm gaining. And then when I stopped gaining, I realized, okay, Kinder's got to be running up high. So I started rolling the top, and that started getting me faster and faster and faster and keeping my times more level over the whole stint rather than just trying to wrap the bottom like I normally do with the Harvick line. And it started working well. I mean, I hit the wall a few times, but I think I only had a grand total of like 12 seconds of damage from bouncing it off the wall 4 times. So, like, we were very, it's just being consistent, run the top, run your line, and, and that last one, I was riding with Metler as well because we were in the same chat, and like he was like we were 1-2 all of a sudden because the leaders dove to pit road, and I went, oh, I don't know, I could stay out, but I feel like I need to pit, so I came in the lap after the 13 did, and we were just we just had the speed on them at the end because I see Terry faded to P6, and that was probably down to fuel saving because he pitted, like, he one stopped, and like kudos to him. I didn't think anybody was going to make it off of one stop, but we just had the speed in the Apex Tech Ford Mustang up hot. The car could go where I needed it to go when I needed it to go, and luckily, these cars aren't made of paper mache like the Xfinity cars, so bouncing it off the wall once or twice isn't gonna critically damage the aero, and I could stay up there and keep moving.
Well, you put together a phenomenal race. Is there anybody you want to thank for such a strong run here and getting up on the podium after missing the start?
Well, I mean, obviously, Apex Tech Racing, like and ATRC Sports wouldn't be in this league without those guys. All of our amazing sponsors who make this possible, and people on my streamer being able to see me frantically turn the car sideways so I can actually read off the sponsors. Base Performance Simulators, Pro Sim Rig, Meridian, TPI, Apex Tech Racing Supply, HD Anywhere. That was always tricky because it's not on the car, but it is a sponsor. Everybody who was watching at my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/sysmoney_gaming. And lastly, you guys up in the SRM booth, Liam, you guys always do a good job, whether it's our Midday Racing League or whether it's Dynasty Racing League. You guys do a fantastic job with broadcasts. It's always a pleasure to go back and watch post-race. So thank you for all you guys do as well, Liam.
Oh, we appreciate the kind words. That's very kind of you, and congratulations on your third place finish here and strong recovery.
I appreciate that, Liam. Really do. I mean, again, like I didn't expect to be running third, and then I saw myself in fifth, and the two guys ahead of me, I was like, I don't know if I've got enough pace. And then I think their tires hit the cliff, and like all of a sudden I started picking up like 3-4 tenths a lap, and it was okay. I can get them. So just happy to manage to get. I was just gonna be happy with a P5, and to get P3 is not something I expected when I came off pit road on lap 1. So.
Awesome stuff, man. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, sounds good. See you later.
That's gonna about do it for us here on Sim Racing Media. We'll go ahead and show you the results one more time. Oh, that's not the way I wanted to do it. There we go. Garrett Kinder gets the job done. Seth Warren, unbelievable fuel-saving job, comes home in second. Weren't able to find him in the chat to be able to talk to him about that, but hopefully next week we'll be able to talk with him about it. Then we've got Matt Sisler, Gene O'Maro, Rick Helms, Terry Atwood, Matt Metler, Rooster Rodden, Nick Atwood, Chris Papa, Joe Nelson, William Baker, and William George did not get the start in. So a phenomenal race here at Kansas. Started off with a lot of super hard side-by-side action. Then it pulls into the pit strategy game. We see Garrett Kinder pull away with a huge win. Seth Warren up 8 spots from where he started with a huge gamble on fuel. Matt Sisler in third, going to increase his points lead over Rooster Rodden, who had to suffer from a pit entrance penalty. Goes a lap down. Well, thanks guys for tuning in. This is Liam Erbig for Sim Racing Media, and we'll catch you guys next time.